Hey there. Hello. Hope you're feeling, well, extra healthy-ish. This is your podcast from Body+Soul, and I'm your host, Felicity Harley. Hey, tell me, do you know much about plant medicine? Sure, it's about using, eating and immersing yourself in plants to heal and boost your health, well-being and vitality. But until I chatted with Erin Lovell Verinde, I didn't really understand its true meaning, but I do now, and you're about to too. Erin is a herbalist, a nutritionist, energetic healer and author. Her new book is called The Plant Clinic, and she's on today to talk about the restorative power of plants, how to make your own medicines and maintain your well-being during these, well, unprecedented and turbulent times. Erin, thank you so much for coming on Extra Healthy-ish. Now, how do you stay extra healthy-ish in your life? And you can't say herbs, you have to tell me some other thing you do.
Oh, well, gosh, so many things. I mean, over these years, I've really cultivated truly a life that is enriching and nourishing for me. As a practitioner too, I show up for many other people's health processes. So I need to be in a really good place to be able to be of service in any way. So we live a really kind of quiet, nourishing life connected to nature. That's very important to me. I've got a big garden that has been my absolute savior in this pandemic as well. So growing my own fruits and veggies is pretty major. I really love that. But eating good food that works on my body, making sure that I'm hydrated, really, getting out in nature every day, meditation. There's all these little elements that I weave in that make me feel really, to be honest, at my best and balanced. And I really feel it when I don't do those things. So a lot of those things are really non-negotiables for me, for sure.
Just the fundamentals of good health right there in a nutshell.
Right.
Yeah.
Totally.
Now,
Yeah.
Tell us about plant medicine. What is it exactly for people who don't know, who are interested, and how does it heal?
It's a great question. Plant medicine is herbalism. I think a lot of people might get a little thrown with that plant medicine sort of terminology that we're using more now in the modern day. But essentially it is the foundation is of ancient practice of herbs. Herbs used in everyday, many cultures, all cultures began with herbs as their main form of medicine. And really there's been an incredible amount of collected knowledge over the years through all of these different lineages that form the foundations of plant medicine. So yeah, it's herbalism. And it is more relevant than ever, truly, in these modern days, with everything we're moving through to look to nature as well for the answers.
Yeah, absolutely. The healing power of nature. You talk about the, restorative power of plants, connecting your book with pillars to thrive. And I love these pillars that you've outlined, and you've talked about some of them already. But can you just quickly talk about what you write about in the book?
Yeah. So because the book takes you so deeply into all these elements of health, so there's plant protocols for vitality and plant protocols for immunity and digestive health and the first aid kit, maybe baby's, your little bub's got cradle cap or a little bit of colic. So there's all of these remedies in the book. I really felt it was negligent of me to not mention the other elements that are needed to allow plant medicines to sink into like a deeper state of received healing. And so really, the plants sort of facilitate the healing, but you can't, it's like, we have to think about plants not like a pharmaceutical or a drug. We have to think about it. So it's not just taking it and getting better. Sure, they can have a profound impact, but doing the other elements to address maybe why your health is a little off kilter is important. So that's where the pillars came in. And the pillars to thrive, it's about good food, it's about hydration, it's about rest, connecting to nature, self-talk, and body movement. So I really go on and on about those in the book because, when I'm saying, okay, we want to have a strong fortified immune system, but we can't just take the plants and think, well, that's that. We need to make sure that we're doing those elements to have a strong and vital body to work with plants to facilitate healing as well.
Yeah, good point. Well said. And how do we work out what's right for us? I mean, just say, for example, you're stressed, you haven't slept. How can we know what plants to consume for our personal health reasons?
First of all, I think it's so important to inquire what you're actually experiencing. So a lot of people, I think we're quite disconnected from our body and what our body's saying to us, but actually listening, going, how do I feel today is actually a really great place to start to actually go, well, what plants might actually be the right match for me? Because there are plants that really can work on so many, everything. There's sort of a remedy and a plant that is there to assist for all sorts of things. So asking how you're feeling is a really good place to begin. The reason why I wrote the Plant Clinic and my first book, Plants of the People, was because I really wanted people to learn those skills that were sort of lost to us in many ways. You know, I know personally my mum lost sort of any skills of home herbalism, but prior to that, my grandma was really connected to home herbalism. And so it's about really bringing those skills back that were normalized in many, maybe just a generation before us or 2 generations before us. So the books are about, you know, trying to help people find their way back to those plants and those remedies that have been known for eons. I will say, though, if there's an issue that is quite chronic or even really acute that you're a little confused about, you know, talking to a naturopath or a herbalist is always great, because you'll get that one-on-one support, which is really important because, you know, health runs deep and it's complex.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
And often the experts know better. You know, you can jump on Dr. Google and work yourself out in some ways,
yes,
but
totally.
really seeing, you know, an expert in this field. What, you know, if you are interested in making some of your own plant medicines, what's the best place to start?
I really would say medicinal teas are a great place to begin, because truly they're so easy. Water is a great, you know, it's an easy solvent where basically, you know, we can make a tea really easily. And I think that's a really great place to start. But it's also the most ancient form of medicine. Truly, so many herbs over time have been extracted and worked with through water. And it can be a powerful medium, truly. So start with that. That's a great place to begin. But there's also, in the book, I teach oxymals and syrups. And oxymals are just essentially honey and apple cider vinegar. And syrups often are just extracted in water as well, with a little honey. And these simple things that we can have around our homes, you know, like apple cider vinegar and honey and water can be, you know, form the basis of medicines, which is awesome, of plant medicines.
So what are some common plants used for medicinal purposes, and, you know, what do they treat?
Yeah, wow, gosh, there's so many. Like, where do you begin?
Give us your faves.
Yeah. Well, you know,
there's thousands,
this
You're
morning.
right.
Right, there's thousands. This morning I was out in my garden and I was picking chamomile. Chamomile's going crazy in my garden right now, and it's such a beautiful plant. And chamomile is such an awesome plant for the nervous system. It's a nervine, and it's so good for kids and elderly people. It's really kin to kids. So, you know, if your little one's experiencing a tricky day or even teething, or just a little watered down chamomile tea can be awesome. But chamomile is awesome for sleep and just anxiety. I mean, so many people are moving through so much anxiety right now, truly. So I love that kind of class of herbs and nervines. Chamomile, passion flower, skullcap, valerian. There's so many herbs for so many things, truly.
What are you into at the moment? What's your kind of go-to herb?
Oh, yeah. I've been doing a little bit more extra immune support given these wild times. And I've been really working with immune herbs, but particularly lots of medicinal mushrooms. So chaga and reishi and shiitake and turkey tail. I think I do teach a bit about medicinal mushrooms in the new book as well, if anyone's keen, but I just think they're wonderful immune supporters. So I've been doing a lot of those, and one of my favorite herbs is ashwagandha. It's been really profound for me, which is Withania somnifera. It's a really good one for exhaustion, fatigue, and burnout when you might feel like your well is a little depleted. And that's a herb that I work with quite frequently, to be honest, when I'm feeling like, I need to refuel a little bit. It's a lovely one to lean on.
What do you do with it? How do you consume it?
Oh, goodness, it tastes terrible. That's a heads up for everyone. It's one of those
alert.
Alert. It's not a nice chamomile tea. So I think it's best in a capsule form or a tincture, but capsules are quite accessible.
Just get it down.
Get it down. Yeah, exactly. You don't have to taste it when it's in a capsule. It's kind of hidden. Yeah, so that's good advice. Yep, capsule.
Now, the power of plants is, to heal is obviously a growing area of research. Actually, I recently read that the University of Queensland, that researchers are studying whether plant medicines can treat the likes of cancer and obesity, which I thought was really interesting. So have you come across any new research in this space? I mean, your head's well into it, or anything that you have seen, where we'll go, or talk to us about this.
I think there's a real misconception as well around plants not being researched or studied and I love to dispel that, because there's been decades of research on plants, but we have to understand too that the funding is just not there for large scale research, because a lot of plant research is not backed by pharmaceutical companies. But there's decades and decades of research. I remember when I was in university, I did, the most thorough research on plant medicine in place for HIV treatment and cancer treatment. And, I just went deep into, those kind of studies. And there was actually so much research there. And as herbalists and naturopaths here in Australia, we do a very heavy science-based degree. It's very evidence-based. I think people think we're sort of, I don't know, like it's like Hogwarts and it's all woo-woo.
Yeah, a bit woo-woo. Yes.
But a bit woo-woo, which, look, got to say, I love that too. But it's just that it's actually, I went through a science degree as such. It's a health science degree. And so it's very evidence-based and very research-based. And we have really great associations that update us with all of the research these days. So there's just so much coming out there, truly. So it's interesting you read those and that sparked your interest as well, because I think people just don't see it in the mainstream, but it's there.
Yeah, I know. I just came across it and I was like, oh, wow. Like plants, I suppose nothing can take it away from Western medicine, but I think the fact that we're now researching into this whole space and even the links to cancer and obesity, I thought, wow, we're kind of moving forward in this area.
Yes, which is awesome, exciting.
How did you become passionate in this in the first place?
I think I was just like one of those funny little kids that was so intrinsically connected to nature. And I grew up in the suburbs of Sydney, but I was just so fascinated by nature and just felt such a draw and a belonging, truly. And it took a while to find this path as a herbalist, but I just was kind of called to my own little mighty plant path, I think. Yeah, it was just a sense of belonging, truly. Yeah.
I love that. You're just called to nature. But there is, as I said, there's a healing power of nature. I get it. So what's your day look like, in the day in the life of a herbalist, I suppose? I mean, are you in the kitchen just concocting? Is your kitchen like a science lab from school?
Sometimes.
Like, are you like, I'll try this, I'll try that?
Yes. Yeah. When I'm writing books, for sure, because I'm formulating recipes and I'm making sure they taste good and they work and, they're going to be palatable and yummy and also just approachable for people. So sometimes it looks like that. But I run a clinic. So I work one-on-one with clients and it's actually digital. So I'm deep in clinical practice still and have been for many, many years. But I've got my dispensary here. So I've got my herbs. And so I'll see clients and I'm making everything and sending it all out. So that's sometimes, the day. Other times I'm out in my garden and I'm actually gardening and I'm growing herbs and I'm, really just with the plants. And then, I feel like I'm always got lots of ideas. So I'm always doing something creative and my days look pretty different, to be honest. It just depends. But clinic is a big theme of my work commitment and how my days are filled. Talking to people, listening, really working with preventative health or working on chronic health issues and holding space and getting to the roots of it all.
What are you seeing out there at the moment? What's kind of some, obviously burnout, I'm guessing, and fatigue, but what's the feeling out there amongst people? Yeah,
people are really struggling right now. I think being a year and a half deep into the pandemic and so many lockdowns here in Australia, people are worn, and so there's a lot of fatigue, like you said, burnout, but there's a lot of anxiety and depression and people just really struggling with their mental and emotional health. So that's big. They've been big sessions and big things to hold. And, but really, what I'm always so impressed by is people just showing up and really wanting to find a solution, and really wanting to make change. And then when, they do make those changes, it can be so profound, but that's a big, deep theme right now. The anxiety, depression, and the fatigue, for sure, which I think we can all relate to, that this has been a challenging time.
Absolutely. 100%. Now, just lastly, do you have a favorite recipe in your book?
Oh gosh, I have so many. That's hard to choose.
You got to choose a favorite child.
Okay, one. Okay, I love the Iron Lift brew syrup, because it's kind of, it's kind of different, I think, to how people would approach a herbal recipe. But there's so many herbs that are iron rich and nutrient dense, and it's so lifting and nutritive. And iron deficiency is like an epidemic amongst menstruating women. It's intense. Pretty much every client I see has low iron, every female client. So Yeah, that's just a really lovely one that you can take every day to just bolster those iron levels. Obviously, if you're supplementing at the same time to get those levels up if need be, but it's just a really yummy, nutritious syrup. So yes, that's my favorite.
What's in that one? How do we make that?
So it's a synergistic blend of so many things. It's actually a long list of herbs, but there's like nettle leaf and burdock and yellow dock and alfalfa, just lots of nutritive, mineral-rich herbs as well.
Yeah, I like it. Well, congratulations on your book, and thank you so much for coming on Extra Healthy-ish.
Thank you for having me.
I don't know about you, but I think I might try some of those recipes. Hey, we all need a boost to our health and well-being right now. If you want more from Erin, make sure you grab her book. It's called The Plant Clinic. If you want more from us at Body and Soul, well, download more episodes of Extra Healthy-ish. We publish this podcast every morning, Monday to Thursday, or jump online, bodyandsoul.com.au, follow us on Instagram or Facebook. Thanks again for tuning in to my chat with Erin, and if you have a moment, we'd be so grateful if you could rate, review or subscribe to this podcast. And until tomorrow, stay extra healthy-ish.